Good afternoon on this fourth Sunday of March. Uh, Not going to be too long today, but this is part three of my journey to independence. I spoke last week on how I received a visitation, and that really started me or continued me on my road to freedom. And the following week, following July 4th, we at the Ark were introduced to our local Alcoholics Anonymous group. Now, mind you, we're in Germany. And one might think that being in a foreign land that you would have to know the foreign language. But we didn't. The group that we were introduced to were bilingual. And they spoke both German and better English than most of us. So the first thing that they talked about with us was what's known in the Big Blue Book, Alcoholics Anonymous, as step one, having to admit that you had let alcohol take over your life, that you had become powerless and subject to its means. And one of the things that I will always remember is a little ditty that the leader of the group taught us. He said, first the man takes a drink, then the drink takes the man. Now let me get that right. First the man takes a drink, then the drink takes a drink, and then the drink takes the man. That would be the correct way of saying it. And there's a lot of truth in that because we, like I had said earlier, one of the things that I did when I first woke up was to grab a double scotch, chase it with a cup of coffee and a Star Mint. So who was really in control? I wasn't. And that made a big difference in my life right then. Alcohol had just taken over my life. So when I received that poor evaluation, it just said everything that I probably already knew, that I had arrived at a point in my life to where I needed help, but just was too proud to ask for it. And so I issue this warning to folks out there who might be listening and to anyone that you want to share this with. Don't let your pride stand in the way of your progress. God did not put us here on this earth to stagnate. He put us here on this earth to take care of his garden, to take care of his earth. And I must admit, here lately, I think we have become poor stewards of God's gift to us. And so I urge each and every person who might be listening, who you might share this with, if you haven't already started a change in your life, a positive change in your life, go ahead and give it a go. Find someone, find a group, find a church, find a book. And the best book I can recommend is the Bible. I like using the acronym, Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. And that's what God intended for us, to know what he wants for us. So, in my journey to independence, I was introduced to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I started to learn some things about myself, particularly in the 12-step program. And amongst those, as I said, first you need to admit that you are powerless over whatever you have allowed to take over your life, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whether it's sex. There are just so many things out there that we can succumb to. We can succumb to the lies of man. Some might say succumbing to the lies of the devil. And that's probably true. At least it is in my way of thinking. So these are things that you don't want to do. And how do you get around it? Well, the answer is simple, but the labor might be a little difficult for most of us. I know it was for me. And basically, you want to start listening to God. You want to find yourself a good church. You want to find yourself a good leader, a man or a woman of God, one who will not lie to you just to get your money. A good church doesn't need your money. It does need your support, but doesn't need you to, give $100 when you only make 50. So remember that. Keep that in mind. God does ask us to give to the storehouse our tithes and offerings. And there are those who can explain more about that to you. And I encourage you to learn about tithes and offerings. In the meantime, though, I want you to remember this, that in my journey to independence, I had to give up a whole lot of myself. I had to start over again. I had to rebuild myself. I had to bring back my old character. I had to become the best that there was in my field. I had to become the best man that I knew how to be. And all of that required some sacrifice. It meant giving up the old and bringing back the new. So this is how I encourage you to continue with me on my journey to independence. Now, I've spoken about being introduced to Alcoholics Anonymous. In the next segment, I'm going to talk about how, as a group of brothers and sisters in Germany, we went to dinner, and some of the things I had to learn about eating and drinking all over again. So in the meantime, here we are. I'm Rod Gross, and this is the fourth Sunday in the month of March 2025. And I am praying that you all have a very good day and a very fine week. And remember that God loves you, and so do I. And as a friend once said to me, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. Be blessed.